Hello, tonight our lesson is on long division with decimals. So let's start by identifying the parts of the division problem. First of all, the number that's being divided is called the dividend, and that number always goes inside of the house, in there. So in this case, 20 and 8/10 would go inside the house. The number that's dividing into the dividend is called the divisor, and that goes outside of the house, over here. And that is 4/10. Now, whenever we divide and our divisor has a decimal or decimal places in it, we need to move the decimal point so that we are dividing with a whole number. So to do that, our decimal would have to be moved one place to the right. So instead of dividing by 4/10, we're dividing by the whole number 4. But however many places I move the decimal in my divisor, I have to do the same thing for the dividend. So I need to move this one place to the right also. And don't forget to place your decimal point in your quotient or your answer. And by the way, let's go ahead and let's label that quotient. So the quotient is what we call the answer to a division problem. And that's going to go on the roof, on top of the house here. Alright, so now we're ready to divide. We're going to divide 4 into 208. Well, 4 doesn't go into 2, but it does go into 20 5 times. So I'm going to put the 5 above the 0 of the 20, because 4 times 5 is exactly 20, and when I subtract, I'll have 0 remainder there. But I still need to bring down the 8, and then divide the 4 into the 8. Alright, well that's going to go 2 times exactly. And I didn't need to write that 0, but whatever. And we subtract and we get 0 remainder, and there's nothing left to pull down. Okay, there's nothing left for us to do there. So our answer would be 52. That's the quotient for this division problem. Alright, so if I had 20 and 8/10, I can divide 4/10 into it 52 times. And to verify that that would be true, I could multiply 52 times 4/10. Okay, and if I do that multiplication correctly and place my decimal point, I should get the number we started with, 20 and 8/10. Okay, here's our next example. Go ahead and pause your video, and I want you to put the numbers where they belong. Put the dividend inside the house and the divisor outside the house. After you do that, move your decimal point so that the divisor is a whole number. Alright, 1 and 44 hundredths should go in the house, 12 hundredths outside of the house. And the decimal point should be moved 2 places to the right. And then place your decimal point in your quotient. Okay, did you do that correctly? Good. Alright, so now let's divide 12 into 144. You can pause your video and then restart it to check your answer. Alright, thank you for pausing the video. And now let's divide 12 into 14. That goes 1 time. There's 2 left over. Bring down the 4. 12 goes 2 times into 24, and there's no remainder. So the answer was 12. So how'd you do? Alright, good. Let's do another one. Alright, so this one, go ahead and pause your video and work it out, then restart to check your answer. Welcome back from pausing the video. So in the house, 4 and 8/10 will be placed. Outside the house, 6 hundredths. The decimal point gets moved 2 places to the right, so the divisor is a whole number. And we do the same thing for the dividend. We move it 2 places to the right, and we're going to have to add a 0 placeholder, and then put your decimal point up in the quotient. And now let's divide. 6 will go 8 times into 48. There's no remainder, but we do have a 0 there. And 6 will go 0 times into 0. And that's it. So the answer is going to equal 80. So how'd you do? Okay, let's try this one. We're going to pause the video, set it up, then go ahead and get the answer and restart. Welcome back from pausing the video. 2 4/10 goes in the house. 8 thousandths goes outside the house. The decimal point has to be moved 3 places to the right so that we have a whole number. So let's do the same inside for the dividend. 1, 2, 3. 2 0 placeholders are needed, and there's the decimal in the quotient. So now we're dividing 8 into 2,400. Well, 8 won't go into 2, but it will go into 24 3 times. So I'll put the 3 above the 4. There's no remainder, but I still have 2 zeros to bring down. And each time I do, I'm going to end up with 0. So let's just put 2 0 placeholders in the 10s and the 1s place. And that would be our answer. And our answer would be 300. So did you get it? Okay, let's try one more. Go ahead and set up the problem and find the answer, then restart to check and see how you did. Welcome back from pausing the video. Let's put 96 hundredths in the house. 2 4/10 outside the house. The decimal point gets moved 1 place to the right, and then put it in your answer. So it's going to be between the 9 and the 6. Now, 24 will not go into 0 or 9, so I could put a 0 in front in the 1s column. Alright, and so now I'm going to divide 24 into 96, because if 24 goes 0 times into 9, right, I would end up still with the 9, and when I bring down the 6, I'm dividing into 96. Alright, 24 goes exactly 4 times into 96, and there's no remainder. So the answer to our problem had a decimal in it. It's 4/10. So it's okay to have a decimal in your answer. It's just when you divide, you can't divide with a number that has a decimal place. Okay, I think you're ready for the self-quiz. Alright, here's the self-quiz. Go ahead and pause your video, find both answers, then restart to check your answer, to check and see how you did. Alright, welcome back from pausing the video. 35 hundredths goes in the house. 7/10 outside the house. Decimal point gets moved 1 place to the right. So 7 won't go into 3, so that's going to be a 0. Bring down the 5, but 7 will go 5 times into 35. So the answer was 5/10. How'd you do? Did you get that one? Okay, let's try another one. So the second answer, you set it up 6 4/10 and then 4 hundredths on the outside with the decimal 2 places to the right. So this is going to be 4 into 640. So 4 will go 1 time into 6 with 2 remainder, bring down the 4. 4 goes 6 times into 24 with no remainder, but I still have a 0. So I get 160. So how'd you do? Remember, read some books.